Hey y'all, I am back with another video. I spoke on the loss of my friend's fiance and how unexpected and sudden it was. And I did want to touch on grief because grief is something that we have all experienced. And I'm not going to talk about grief in a clinical sense because I can be here all day and I am a nerd and I love to talk about stuff like this. But I'm going to do it in a sense of relatedness to the sayings that Big Mama would say, because there were so many of them. Just doing these series, I'm learning that there was a saying for everything. So basically, we're going to talk about grief in the situation of real life experiences we have felt. And I'm going to use her words of wisdom to relate to all 5 stages of grief. Grief has 5 stages. And we use the acronym DABDA. I will use that as a title so you can see it. So DABDA is DABDA. First D is for denial. This can't be real. Like, what is going on? It's like your mind and your heart has a hard time aligning to accept what just happened. Whether you have lost a loved one, you have lost a relationship, lost a job, lost your house, even your car. It's just losing something. Like, I lost my phone. I was going crazy. I was in denial. Like, I know I didn't just leave it in the bathroom. But I say this, that in denial, grandma would say, baby, sometimes your mind protects you until your heart can come to terms with the feelings that it's going through. So there's always sometimes a disconnect before there is a connection that this really happened. And it's okay. You don't have to understand the reality of it, and you take your time to accept it. So then the next step, so you have D, which is denial. The next step is anger. When something like that happens, you're upset. You're like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, what the hell is going on? Especially when you lose a loved one or a relationship. Sorry for scratching my hair. But it's just like, it's not fair. This ain't fair. Why is this happening? I'm confused. I did everything I was supposed to do and I'm still going to lose. How is this okay? Big Mama would say, baby, you got to feel how you feel. Just don't let it tear you up inside. Which to me, I take it as like, feel it, but don't let the feelings consume you, especially the anger. And people do get anger. You lose a relationship, like, what the hell? I gave you everything. You lose a person, like, man, God don't make no mistakes, but we still question it, you know? And also the third letter would be B, bargaining. That's just when everything comes to power. It's like, what if I had did this? Or what if it didn't? And grandma and Big Mom would say, don't wear yourself out chasing what ifs. Everything that happens for a reason. God don't make mistakes, and you can't rewrite what's already been written. And that's a hard one because you do bargain. God, if you don't take my mama, take me, or God, if you let me do this, if you bring her through this, I'll do it like this. Those are all the parts of bargaining, and we all go through them in the grief process. Now, that second D is different to me from what I've seen. It is different in men and different than women. Because the last D is depression. So depression is like, oh shit, this really hurts. Is when you really sit with yourself and you sit with the heaviness and you like can't breathe sometimes and you're crying big ugly cries and you're talking to God and you're just like, God, help me through this. And like they say, if it don't kill you, it makes you stronger. Women will sit through sometimes this depression. Big Mama would say, go on and cry, baby, because your tears got a job to do too. The best time I've had was through my depression stage is having a big old ugly cry and a talk with God. And like I told you guys before, in this last grief of the breakup, I'm making myself sit in the pain because I know there's a purpose in the pain. And I have to learn that this is not where I want to be. So I got to push through. Now, on the other hand, men have been taught really not to express their feelings. So depression, they don't relate depression with grief. This feels unsafe. Basically emotions are unsafe and men are told not to show their emotions all their life. So therefore, instead of depression, they'll do a distraction. So if I just broke up with somebody or whatever, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go give me another woman. I'm going to go put my attention elsewhere. I'm going to avoid these feelings. I'm going to suppress them. I'm not going to deal with them because I don't have time. And basically, the brain is seeking this dopamine. Like instead of the pain, I'm going to replace it with the pleasure. Therefore, you will see a lot of men will move on from a relationship and get a brand new relationship, do all of the same exact things that he did with the woman beforehand, have a whole body of skeletons buried from the depression he never dealt with before. And just think, even though that distraction is there, it's temporary. You're still going to dream about it. You're still going to think about it in those quiet times because the subconscious is still carrying that depression and it's just waiting for you to sit down and deal with it. So with men, they will basically, they don't recognize grief as depression, and basically they'll be silent. And most of these men, you'll see that they become emotionally avoidant. So yeah, I'm not dealing with the emotional part of anything. I don't want no drama. I just like peace and da da da. And in the meantime, they feel they're healed, and they're not. They're not healed. All you did was replace one problem with another problem. And of course, all new things are shiny in the beginning. But if all of your same relationships are ending exactly the same because you were emotionally avoidant and unavailable, and there's no change, and the breaks up are similar, it ain't the woman, it's you. Deal with it and push through. And then we go to the last stage of grief, which is the second A. And that stage is acceptance. You accept it. I'm going to learn to live with this. Grandma would say, you ain't got to like it, but you got to learn how to live with it. And that's still good. It is just, I accept it is what it is. I lost my house. I lost a friend. Memories are always there, but you got to deal with it. I accept it. And it's like Big Mom would say, you ain't got to like it, but you're going to learn to live with it. And that's true. Acceptance isn't not about forgetting something. It's just about redirecting and adjusting to the situation. You adjust. You lose things, you adjust. Life goes on. It is what it is. So I'm going to say that grief doesn't follow any rules. It doesn't follow any rules, doesn't follow any timeline. It doesn't move in order. So those 5 stages could happen way out of order for you. But those 5 stages are universal. They are going to happen. Also, some days you're going to be okay, and some days you are not going to be okay, and that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. And basically, you just right back at the beginning some days. Oh, I've come so far. And sometimes you just get all the way back. A song or something, a reminder, a smell, something, and you go right back. And it's okay. Big Mama would say, grief don't come in a straight line. And it don't keep a schedule. You just got to put one foot in front of the other and trust that your strength is going to get you through. Just trying to remember how she said it. And basically, one step at a time, everybody gets through grief. Those stages are inevitable, no matter what. Like I said, that second D could be depression, most times on the feminine side, and distraction on the men's side, because it's just different. But what you're not going to do is miss a step of that. So my thing is, we now know the 5 stages of grief. They're natural and universal to everybody. It doesn't matter what type of loss you have, you're going to go through the denial. You're going to go through the anger. You're going to go through the bargaining. You're going to go through the depression / distraction. And the final stage is acceptance. And it's okay. Like I said, it's not linear. Every day it's a different thing. And especially when you lose somebody, you don't get over it and you get to acceptance. You will get to acceptance, but you do not forget. It becomes easier to breathe each day, but is not easy when you lose something. Especially if you've lost a sibling, a parent, a child, a family member you love. Just remember, give yourself grace in everything you do and understand that you're not alone. And grief is a natural part of everyday life. You just get through it one day at a time. Love you. Bye.